My mom joined a cult, stole my husband, and now we all live together in a one-room apartment. Hit that subscribe button to never miss out on uploads, and let's get to this story. The first time I heard them having sex, I thought I was dreaming, but I was fully awake, and they weren't even trying to be quiet. It was my husband and my mom. Yes, you read that right. My mother is in a cult. She believes in things like spiritual pairings and breaking the illusion of bloodlines. At first, I thought it was just some weird New Age Facebook group, but she got deeper into it. She sold her car, moved into some compound at the edge of town, and started talking like a prophet. I distanced myself. We barely spoke for almost a year. Then my husband started texting someone constantly, hiding his phone like a teenager. I thought it was just porn at first, maybe even another woman. He said it was work stuff, which made zero sense since he worked as a janitor at a preschool. Then one night, he forgot to lock his phone before going to bed. I checked. The contact name was just Mom. I thought maybe he was texting his own mother. I was wrong. The messages were disgusting. Voice notes, photos, sexting. She was sending him stuff from inside the cult. Naked photos next to candles. Him moaning into the mic, saying he missed her body. I stared at the screen for a long time, hoping it was a prank or some kind of weird game I didn't know about. But it was real. I didn't confront them right away. I wanted to see how far it went. I watched their conversations for 2 more days. Then I invited them both over for dinner. They didn't know I knew. I made spaghetti, set the table, lit candles, and while they sat down, I walked into the bedroom, grabbed his phone, came back, opened the voice messages, and played one on full volume. The moaning echoed across the table. My mom stared at me without blinking. My husband looked down and said, "It just happened." She said, "We're bonded now. You won't understand." He left the next day, moved in with her, into the cult. I filed for divorce and tried to move on. It was disgusting, but at least they were gone. Or so I thought. A month later, she called me crying. Said the cult compound got shut down for zoning issues or something. Said they had nowhere to go. Begged me to let them stay, just for a few nights. I said absolutely not. Then she dropped a bomb. "If you don't help us, your little brother goes into foster care." I haven't mentioned him yet. He's 9 years old. She had him way later in life. I knew he didn't have anywhere else to go. So I agreed, but only for her and my brother. Not my ex. She showed up with him anyway, along with 2 other cult members. All of them moved into my 1-bedroom apartment. Just walked in like it was normal. I tried to set boundaries. Told them they could sleep on the floor. I took the couch. But by day 2, they had candles everywhere and were chanting during the night. One guy refused to wear clothes, for spiritual reasons. My little brother was copying them. I begged him to stop. He said, "But Mom says clothes are a lie." I started sleeping in my car just to get away. They called the living room the sanctuary and referred to me as the defiler. They took over everything. My food, my fridge, my Wi-Fi. Changed the password and said I wasn't pure enough to access the digital plane. One morning, I woke up and everyone was gone. The place was trashed. The mirror was covered with duct tape. When I pulled it off, someone had written, "Your reflection lies," in Sharpie across the glass. There was a giant salt symbol drawn on the kitchen floor. I thought they left for good. I hope they did. Then I got a text from my ex. It was a photo of my brother, dressed in white robes, standing in a forest with his eyes closed and arms out like he was praying to something invisible. I asked where they were. He replied, "He's learning. He's ascending." Then he blocked me. I went to the police and filed a missing child report. They traced the call. No location. They all came back 2 days later like nothing happened. Walked in carrying a goat's skull and bags of rice. My mom told me they had expanded the child's soul. My ex hugged me like we were still married. I told them to get out. They laughed. Said they were rooted here now. I started recording everything. Audio, video. Sent it all to the landlord. He filed an eviction notice. But it takes months. Meanwhile, they carved symbols into my furniture. My little brother started sleepwalking at night with a kitchen knife in his hand. One night, I found him just standing at the edge of my bed, silent, staring. When I took the knife from him, he whispered, "You're in the way." That's when I stopped pretending this was something I could fix by waiting it out. After the night I found my little brother holding a knife and sleepwalking, I knew I couldn't pretend this was just some weird phase. Something in him had changed. He wasn't the same kid I used to babysit and build Legos with. He barely spoke anymore. And when he did, he only repeated phrases like, "The flesh is temporary," or "You don't see the real light yet." He was 9. He used to watch cartoons and ask me for fruit snacks. I told my mom I wanted them gone by the end of the week. She didn't argue. She just stared at me and said, "You don't get to remove the roots once they're in the ground." I asked what that was supposed to mean. She smiled and said, "You'll see." I went to my job the next day, delivery driving for a grocery app, and when I came home, my bedroom door was locked. I'd never locked it. I banged on it, thinking maybe someone was inside. Then I heard chanting. My ex opened the door slowly and said, "It's not your room anymore." I shoved him out of the way, walked in, and found my bed had been stripped down to the floorboards. There were candles in each corner. Symbols painted on the walls in black ink. My mirror was smashed. My clothes were gone. I asked where my things were. My mom walked in and said, "We've cleansed this space. Your material burdens have been lifted." I lost it. I screamed, told them all to get out. One of the cult members, this woman named Lana who looked like she hadn't slept in a month, stepped in front of me and said, "Aggression is the language of the unevolved." I pushed past her, grabbed my car keys, and drove straight to the police station. I filed a report for trespassing, destruction of property, and child endangerment. The officer was polite, listened to me carefully, then asked, "Do you have legal custody of the child?" I told him I didn't, that he was my half-brother. The officer shrugged, said there wasn't much they could do unless I was in immediate danger. I said, "He's being brainwashed. They're messing with his head." He said, "It's not illegal to be weird. Unless they're hurting him, our hands are tied." So I tried a new angle. I went to a lawyer, explained everything, showed him pictures, audio clips, screenshots of their group chat, which I'd managed to access from my ex's email when he left a laptop open. The lawyer believed me, said I had a strong case to file for emergency custody of my brother, especially with proof the mother was involved in an unregistered religious cult. We filed the papers that same day. The court date was scheduled for 2 weeks out. That night, I didn't go home. I stayed at a friend's house. When I came back the next morning, they were all gone again. Every single one of them. My apartment was silent, creepy clean, no candles, no drawings, no chanting, but they'd left a note on my kitchen table. It said, "We're building the new temple. He's learning quickly. You will not stop the process." No names, no address, nothing. I called every number I had. Nothing. My ex's phone was disconnected. My mom's phone went straight to voicemail. My brother's school said he'd been unenrolled the week before. I drove to the old cult compound. The place was boarded up. A condemned building sign on the front door. I asked the neighbors if they'd seen anything. One said a group of people left early that morning in a white van. No plates. I went back to the lawyer. He filed an emergency appeal. We got a judge to issue a protective order, but we still had no idea where they were. I stayed awake for 40 hours straight scrolling through forums, Reddit threads, anything that mentioned the family of light. Found old blog posts, mentions in missing persons forums, even a conspiracy video from 2018 about a woman who vanished after joining them. Eventually, I got a text. Blocked number. Just a photo. My brother, standing shirtless in front of a fire, his face painted white, eyes wide, smiling. Below it, the message, "He's free now." I nearly threw my phone across the room. I called the cops again, filed a new report, showed them everything. They opened an official missing child case, put out a bolo on the white van, but with no known location, it wasn't much. 2 days later, they just showed up again, at my door, like they'd gone on a vacation. My mom walked in first, holding a grocery bag filled with candles and herbs. My ex followed, holding my brother's hand like nothing had happened. The 2 other cult members came in last. One of them had shaved his eyebrows off. The other carried a cage with a dead rat inside. I asked them what the hell they were doing. My mom said, "The ritual is complete. We've returned to finish the transformation." I told them I had legal custody of my brother now. She just smiled and said, "The state does not own his soul." That night, they rearranged my entire living room, turned it into a circle of mattresses and blankets, said it was a communal rebirth zone. I wasn't allowed to sleep there anymore. I tried to grab my brother, take him to a relative's house, but he screamed and begged to stay, said I was trying to erase his light. The next morning, I found my car tires slashed. No cameras, no witnesses, no proof. I went to the landlord and showed him everything. He agreed to start eviction paperwork, but it would take 60 days, and I couldn't afford to move somewhere else in the meantime. They knew that. They were using it. So I started documenting every second. Audio, video, photos. I backed it all up on a cloud account they didn't know about. And I waited, because once the court date hit, I wasn't just taking my brother. I was going to expose every last one of them. The day before court, I got a knock on the door. It was a man in a gray hoodie, late 40s, big beard, calm voice. Said his name was Elijah. Said he used to be part of the family of light, but left years ago. I didn't let him inside, but I listened through the screen. He told me, "They don't let go of children easily. Once a child is initiated, they're considered chosen. If you try to pull them away, they'll escalate. Fast." I asked what escalate meant. He looked me dead in the eye and said, "If your mother thinks the boy's purity is at risk, she'll make sure he doesn't stay here with anyone. She believes death is better than disconnection." I slammed the door. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, we went to court. Just me and my lawyer. My brother was supposed to appear via Zoom with a court-appointed guardian, but they never showed. We waited 3 hours. The judge issued a temporary custody order and a pickup warrant. The police said they'd do a welfare check that night. That evening, I came home and they were gone. Again. No note this time. No message. No trace. My brother's shoes were still by the door, but everything else, gone. Clothes, bags, candles, food, the dead rat in the cage, everything. I called the police. Gave them the new order. They said they'd follow up. I didn't hear anything for 2 days. On the 3rd day, I got a video. No number. Just a file. I hit play. It was my brother, sitting in a tent, cross-legged, hands on his knees. Behind him was my ex, holding a candle. My mom stood to the left, wearing white robes. Lana, the sleepless cult woman, stood to the right. No one was talking. just the sound of wind and leaves rustling. Then my brother looked at the camera and said, "I'm not your brother anymore. I belong to the light." Then the screen went black. I sent it to the police. They opened a kidnapping case. This time, they took it seriously. That same night, I got a call from a blocked number. It was my ex. He sounded tired. Slow. He said, "You ruined everything. We had him. We were going to save him. Now he's confused." I asked where they were. He said, "He ran." I froze. "What do you mean?" "He left the circle. Said he missed you. Took off into the woods." We looked everywhere. That call changed everything. I filed a missing persons report on my brother again. Only this time, he was missing from them. The police found him 2 days later. He was hiding behind a dumpster outside a supermarket 20 miles away. Shivering, starving, but alive. They brought him to a shelter, then to a safe house. He wouldn't speak to anyone. Not until I came. When I got there, he clung to me like a toddler. Wouldn't let go. It took hours for him to calm down. When he finally spoke, he whispered, "They were going to make me drink it." I asked, "Drink what?" He said, "The light." I didn't understand. He explained that they were planning a final ritual to unbind him from his false family. That meant me. That meant his old life. That meant everything he knew. He said my mom had a jar of liquid she called the pure root. Said it would help his soul separate. He said it smelled like chemicals. That Lana told him she drank it once and spoke to the other side. He was supposed to drink it on the full moon. He said he ran the night before. He heard my voice in his dream. That was the first time I cried since this whole thing started. We got emergency full custody granted that same week. The court fast-tracked the case. My mom didn't even show up. Neither did my ex. They were officially fugitives. But that's not the end. Because once I had custody, once he was safe, once it should have all been over, I got curious. I started digging into my mom's past. And I found something I wasn't ready for. She's been in 4 cults. Not just one. The Family of Light was just the most recent. She joined her first when I was 2. I didn't remember it. I just thought she had weird friends, over sometimes. She would disappear for a few days here and there. I thought she was just going on retreats. But according to old police reports, she had been questioned about 2 separate missing children in the early 2000s. No charges were filed. One of the groups she was in got raided by the FBI. Another was banned in 2 countries. And here's the twist that still messes with me. One of the leaders she followed in the 90s? He's the biological father of my brother. Not just some random cult member. The actual founder. She never told me. She lied about it for years. She called him a miracle baby. Turns out, he was part of a breeding program they had inside the cult. Kids were raised to carry on the belief system. She took him when the group split and hid him. Changed her name. Moved states. My brother isn't just some poor kid dragged into this. He was born into it. Raised for it. Everything she did was part of some plan. And now she's out there again. With my ex. With who knows how many others. I don't know where they are. I don't know what they're planning. But I know this. They're not done. And neither am I. Things were calm for a few weeks. My brother started acting more like himself. He laughed again. Ate cereal while watching cartoons. He asked to sleep with the lights on, and I didn't question it. He had nightmares almost every night, but he didn't talk about them. I didn't push. I enrolled him in a new school under a different last name. Changed mine too. We moved into a small place out of town. 1 bedroom, but it was clean, quiet, safe. I took a job at a hardware store. Started trying to live a normal life. Then a package showed up at the front desk of the store. No return address. Inside was a small, handmade doll wrapped in wax paper. The stitching was messy. Human hair had been sewn into the head. I recognized the shirt. It was from a photo of my brother, the one he wore at his 6th birthday. There was a note inside. "You can change your name, but not your purpose." I reported it. The cops took it seriously. Opened a new case. But they didn't find anything. Cameras outside the store weren't working that day. Classic. A week later, my brother came home from school with a piece of paper in his backpack. It looked like a flyer. Cheap ink. Bad formatting. At the top it said, "The light is returning. The false vessels will burn." He said a kid gave it to him on the playground. Just a kid. No idea who. I pulled him out of school that same day. Filed for homeschool. Got security cameras installed at the house. Changed numbers. Scrubbed everything I could online. I even wiped our social media history going back a decade. But then I realized something else. Something I'd missed. I went through all the files I'd backed up. Audio, video, screenshots. And I found one clip I hadn't really listened to. It was from my ex's phone. A voice recording labeled preparation notes. At first it sounded like nonsense. Chants. Repeated phrases. Background wind. Then I heard my mom's voice. Calm. Serious. She said, "We will scatter like ashes. Hidden. Untraceable. One in every town. The boy was only the first. We will try again. And again. And again." That was the real twist. My brother wasn't the end goal. He was a trial run. They were building something bigger. A network. A next generation. And they'd already started spreading out. All the focus on him, on me, was just a distraction from the bigger picture. I reported the clip to the feds. Got interviewed by 2 agents. They asked about names, details, anything that could help. But everything I gave them felt too vague. It was like chasing a ghost. They told me the group was now considered a fluid cult cell. Not centralized. Not traceable. And most terrifying of all, They said there were signs that children were the focus now, not just adults. That's when I stopped sleeping altogether. I set motion alerts on my phone, locked every window, slept with a bat by the bed. Every time my brother went outside, I watched from the window. Every car that parked too long, every stranger who lingered too close. I tracked license plates, wrote everything down. We lived like that for months, until the letter came. It wasn't mailed. It was slipped under the door. Just one sentence, handwritten in red ink. He'll come back to us when the world disappoints him. That's what broke me. Because deep down, I knew there was a chance they were right. He still mumbled their phrases in his sleep sometimes. Still drew those same damn symbols without realizing it. Sometimes I'd catch him staring at candles too long. And worst of all, he never asked about his mom. Never once. Almost like he already understood she wasn't gone. Just waiting. So yeah, maybe one day he will go looking for her. Maybe when he's older. When I'm not watching. Maybe he'll be curious. Angry. Lost. And if that happens, if they ever find each other again, I don't think I'll be able to stop it. I saved him once. But I don't know if I'll get the chance to do it again. So now I live like this. Constantly looking over my shoulder. Waiting for the next package. The next note. The next coincidence. Because I know they're still out there. And they don't give up. Not when they think you're part of the prophecy. Not when they believe your blood belongs to them. Not when they think your little brother is the future of their entire religion.